Good evening, and welcome to the City of Hawaiian Gardens City Council regular meeting Tuesday, March 14th, 2017 at 6:08. I would like to call to order the regular meeting and the successor agency, RDA. At this time, can you please turn off your cell phones? I would like to invite the Girl Scout Club to come up, and they're going to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance. But girls, while you're coming up and setting up, we're going to have an invocation by Sue Underwood. She's going to do a prayer for us, and after she prays, then you will lead us in the flag salute. Sue?
Father God, what a blessing it is to see these young ladies here tonight. And we thank you for them. We thank you for their counselors. We thank you for the parents. We thank you for all the educators that are in our presence tonight, Father. These are the people who make our children who they are and who they will be. And we salute every one of them because it's time-consuming and it's hard to get to different organizations and programs and have the kids get to school on time. But parents do it, and the teachers and the educators and the counselors all work with them. So, Father, once again, we thank you for the village that's raising the children. And, Father, just be with the council tonight as they discuss the business of the city and keep your loving arms around us and your watch care over us. We thank thee in thy holy name. Amen.
Amen. The flag. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Can you remain standing, please? That was our Girl Scout troop number 923, who did a fine job. Sue, can we get roll call?
Councilmember Director Rios.
Present.
Councilmember Director Maravilla.
Present.
Councilmember Director Rodriguez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Vice Chairmember Bruce.
Here.
Mayor Chairmember Tremble.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, at this time, I would like to ask council to come down and do a presentation for our Girl Scout number 923. Let me bang this gavel to officially open this meeting. I've been waiting a long time for that, and I keep forgetting. We have these certificate of appreciations for each and every one of these girls, and it reads, the City of Hawaiian Gardens presents a certificate of appreciation to the Girl Scouts of America, troop number 923. The Mayor and City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens appreciate you leading the City Council in their Pledge of Allegiance and appreciate your sharing delicious Girl Scout cookies. Congratulations to the Girl Scouts for celebrating 100 years of selling cookies. This certificate is hereby presented at the regular meeting on this day, the 14th of March, 2017, signed by the Mayor, Hank Trimble. And I just want to say, you look very good for being 100 years old, selling cookies for 100 years. Can I get the troop leader up, please? Are you Hannah? Who are you? Kate. Oh, Katie.
want to thank the City of Hawaiian Gardens and the City Council and Lucy Colombo for inviting us again to come and say the Pledge of Allegiance and present cookies. It's been a really cool experience for the girls, and it's their 3rd year running, so we're going to keep it going, hopefully for the next few years too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Beautiful job on that flag salute, and thank you for your kindness. You're welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, good job. Thank you. I'd like to do a presentation of proclamation to the American Red Cross proclaiming March of 2017 as American Red Cross Awareness Month and celebrating 100 years of service. Can I call up to the platform Mike Ferrara? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me read this out. Let me read this to you. City of Hawaiian Gardens proclamation. Whereas the City of Hawaiian Gardens wishes to congratulate the American Red Cross for 100 years of service to the greater Long Beach, Rio Hondo, and South Bay communities and recognize the many years of outstanding service. And whereas the American Red Cross is the only organization chartered by the United States Congress to provide disaster relief assistance services from home fires to major floods, tornadoes, and other acts of nature. And whereas since 1917, the American Red Cross has provided communications and other support to active duty members of the military. And whereas since 1917, the American Red Cross reconnected families worldwide separated by war and armed conflict. And whereas the Greater Long Beach chapter has served the Hawaiian Gardens area since the city incorporated in 1964, providing disaster services, health and safety training, disaster preparedness training, emergency services to the armed forces, and utility assistance to the elderly and disabled. And whereas Red Cross Red Month is a month-long observance recognizing the American Red Cross as a true reflection of the humanitarian and volunteer spirit. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Mayor Hank Trimble, and the City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens proclaim March 2017 as the American Red Cross Month and urge the citizens of Hawaiian Gardens to recognize the past and ongoing contributions of the American Red Cross and give their support generously to the Greater Long Beach Area Chapter. Congratulations on your 100th anniversary. Thank you very much. Mike, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And you know what stands out to me a lot in this? It's volunteer, which puts them on a higher level. And I want to just present this to you from our City Council. And thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Let us take a picture. Thank you very much. Let's take a picture with our council. How do you want to? Can we give the Red Cross one more round of applause? Now we'll have a presentation of our city special events that were caught on video.
Hi there, I'm Linda Zuniga working at City Hall, and today we're celebrating Safe Communities Month. The city designates March as Safe Communities Month each year, and we hold special events in the parks to introduce the community and children to public safety.
Yeah, Sergeant Thomas Macy at Lakewood Station, Hawaiian Garden here in Hawaiian Gardens, where it's a Safe Communities Month. So we're at an event which not only safety, we also focus on other issues such as environment. So that's what we're doing today.
My name is Mark Moss. I'm the education manager for the Central Basin Municipal Water District. We are the water wholesaler to the city of Hawaiian Gardens and also 23 other cities within Southeast Los Angeles County. We're here today because we're teaching the kids about, we're teaching them about water conservation and conservation of all other natural resources. We're also teaching them about recycling, the recycling of solid waste items and other items that can be recycled. And one of the main things that we were talking to them about is how is water recycled? What I'd like them to do is also to continue doing water conservation. Even though we've had a lot of rain this winter, we're really low on our groundwater, and so if they could continue to conserve water, that's very helpful. But also just to know that there is another source of water, and that is recycled water, and that can be used for everything pretty much that we're using our regular drinking water for. Why not use that recycled water in place of our drinking water, and we can conserve our drinking water.
My name is Amaris Aguilar, and today I learned that we need to keep our environment safe every day.
My name is Crystal, and what I learned about water is that if you take shorter showers, we're gonna let everyone have more water, because California was in a drought. So to help us not get in a drought again, it's important to save water and not to waste it.
My name is Francella Aguilar, and I'm with Republic Services, the waste and recycling company. And we're out here today just to educate the kids about recycling and the importance of taking care of our environment. What the whole message was to take care of the environment, and what we did is we showed the kids the difference between what goes into a blue container, which is recycling items, and what goes into the solid waste container, which is the trash, and the importance for doing this process. I want them to take home the fact that recycling is very important, that is now part of our lives, is part of our environment, and so that they are the generation that teach the following generations the importance of recycling and how to do the recycling.
My name is Stephanie, and today I learned that water needs to be, everything like plastic needs to be recycled, and water has to be taken care of. Never leave your water running, and always remember to recycle cans, paper, plastic, and glass.
My name is Jocelyn Jimenez, and I learned that the dog, he recycles water and bottles and different stuff that you can recycle. When you take a shower, you can use cut some time off, and when you brush your teeth too.
Mariana Rios, Hawaiian Garden City Council. I'm a proponent of recycling. You can recycle everything, cans, milk cartons, anything, paper. We need to save our trees and we need to save our planet.
My name is Raimi Torres. I'm Executive Assistant for the Public Works Department. We're here since it's all about recycling and safe communities to promote the oil recycling program. We're providing free oil containers and the funnels to put in new oil. Our Public Works Department works diligently to try and keep the community looking clean, the parks clean, also away from any graffiti, junk on the streets, and overall to build that community partnership to make sure we keep a clean community.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to open oral communications. This is a time reserved for members of the public wishing to speak on any items on or not on the agenda, except for public hearing items. This period will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. A maximum time allocated is 15 minutes. Upon conclusion of oral communications, the city council or city staff, at the direction of the mayor, may respond to any questions or statements that were presented by members of the public. The city council is prohibited by law from discussing or taking any action. So at this time, I open up for oral communication.
Good evening. I'm Carolyn Reed, and I'm the Community Library Manager for the Hawaiian Gardens Library, and there are two events I'd like to feature, and I gave flyers to the City Council members. The first is our Spring Holiday Family event. We're holding this in conjunction with our friends of the Hawaiian Gardens Library. We will be having a story, some make-and-take art activities, and an opportunity to get your picture with the Easter Bunny. So we hope you can join us on Saturday, April 1st at 2 o'clock in the library. The second thing I want to highlight is something that the County of Los Angeles Public Libraries do in almost all their libraries now. It's part of the Family Place program. We hold parent-child workshops for parents with children ages 0 to 3. It is a 5-week-long workshop, and we allow for the parents and children to come into the library and explore the library through various play stations and creation stations, while providing a community resource specialist to talk to the parents about various aspects of child raising. And those will be held every Friday of April, the 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, and the first Friday of May at 11 a.m., and we hope that parents with children 0 to 3 will show up and join us. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Jesus Mendoza. I live at 22022 St. Avenue. I didn't get a chance to talk to our city manager, or Linda, but I know that you guys have on the resolution number 015-2017 about Celico. And I noticed that I just wanted to make sure if you guys could make that change, or if because the letter that's coming from Linda to our honorable mayor and the city council and through the city manager, it states on there for the program itself some of the requirements for the spring phase of that program. And on there, one of the requirements, it says participants must be citizens of the United States, in which that's not entirely true. It's supposed to be they just need to have the right to work. So I wanted to see if you guys could make that change. I didn't get a chance to talk to Linda. I forgot about it yesterday. But before you guys adopt it, and if you guys could do that. Okay, thank you.
Would anyone else like to come up and speak?
Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor Hank Tremble, Mayor Pro Tem Barry Bruce, and council members. My name is Jesse Alvarado, and I live on Ibex Avenue and 223rd Street. I'm actually a proud resident for the last 39 years in La Machito, Hawaiian Gardens. I just want to acknowledge all the amazing job you have done in our city for many years. I just want to acknowledge all of you for the hard work you've done. As a matter of fact, I want to share something a little about back in 1995. Back in 1995, you had one of the staff members that came to my house. His name is Fred Licon. That time, he was requesting my signature and support to bring the casino into our city, to Hawaiian Gardens, with the intention of benefit the whole community. He told me about the programs, the multiple programs that I could bring to our city, the youth programs, the senior programs, and also the community safety, which to me I saw a lot of value, a lot of benefits to bring the casino, because if you look back where we were back in the 1995 to today's date, I think we come a long ways. So at that point in time, I saw the vision, and I say, you know what, I'll do whatever it takes to make that happen. I give my signature, and look where we're at. I think that's a big deal. Another thing I want to acknowledge you for is the council members for bringing Mr. Ernie Hernandez on board. I think you did a great job, and I know a lot of staff members here in our community, in our city, that all I hear nothing but great things about our city manager, and also all the great things that people are actually looking for bigger and better in our city with the help of Mr. Ernie Hernandez. So I think you made a great decision. So again, I want to thank you for all the hard work you've done in our city and the benefits that our residents have. Again, my name is Jesse Alvarado, and I want to thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? At this time, I will close oral communications. Any council like to comment on any of their voices?
Well, I will echo Mr. Alvarado's statement about Ernie. We're all very pleased with him, and we're very happy that now we have a fully staffed administration office. So thank you.
I just want to thank Jesse for bringing out the citizenship requirement. I didn't even see it, so I think that has to be changed. There's no, this is, I don't know how it came about, but I think most of us agree that that's not what we stand for.
Mayor, if I may, when that item, it's part of the consent calendar, so if you pull it, obviously we can discuss it. Otherwise, we can change it to state that participants must meet eligible requirements. And so if it's not their requirement, we won't require it.
Yes, but that has been on our agenda before without that type of verbiage, correct?
Is it? I don't know, sir.
Oh, we might have missed the verbiage?
We could have. We missed it today.
Well, and Linda, do you know, is that even a stipulated requirement, or?
Well, it was actually, what I did is I pulled the last one that had been used, so that was the language that was on the last one that came before you. And it's in the staff report, but the resolution doesn't say that. Okay. All it says is that we're accepting the money from the grant, and he's correct. Really what the grant requires is that they be eligible to work in the United States. So they have to have whatever paperwork they need to be able to work in the United States.
So for the record, we can state that that language be stricken and replaced with must meet eligibility requirements, which would address that issue.
That sounds great. That sounds good. Any other comments? No. Okay, we're going to go on with our trustee who's out of state, so I'd like to call up Bill Cinco to do a presentation on an organization that works real close with ABC School District.
It's an honor to be here tonight. Thank you all. The Girl Scouts is going to be an awful hard act to follow. I didn't bring cookies or anything, so anyway, I'm here representing today Community Family Guidance Center. It's a 40-year-old nonprofit agency that does mental health for children, and it started here in Hawaiian Gardens. A couple things I want to just cover with you guys is who am I? I'm the new executive director. I've been there for 2 years. I want to talk to you about the agency itself, and then wrap it up with another reason that I'm here today. I'm going to start off telling you a little bit about myself so you know who's talking to you. I've had a number of lives, if you will. I was a police officer for the city of El Segundo for 10 years and was medically retired. And then after that, I graduated from the Cottonwood School of Ministry, and I worked for Cottonwood Church as an ordained minister for 10 years and oversaw a lot of volunteers and a couple of ministries. And during that time, I figured out that I really loved the management part of it, the people part of it. So I ventured out from Cottonwood Church and went to work for Trinity Worldwide Reprographics as a general manager, and got a call from Community Family Guidance Center, and they needed an operations director, and I felt like I was supposed to go. And that was 4 years ago, and here I am 4 years later as the executive director helping run the agency. So One other thing I forgot to mention is I'm not a native of California. I'm actually born in Roseburg, Oregon, but I grew up in this area. I grew up mostly in San Pedro, but I've lived here for the last 17 years in this area, so this is home to me. Community Family Guidance Center in 1974, Inter-Community Guidance Center in Whittier noticed that there was a real need for children mental health services in the southeast area here, particularly down in Hawaiian Gardens. So they sent some of their therapists down to open up an office. The office opened up and it was basically overran quickly. It was we had so many clients that they had a hard time handling it, and it was under the advisement that it should spin off as its own agency. So it did, and in 1977, in fact, February of 1977, and we're celebrating our 40th year this year, Community Family Guidance Center was born out of, again, Hawaiian Gardens. We started with 7 people in the agency at that time, and quickly outgrew the space we were in, so we ended up finding some space over in Cerritos near South Street and Studebaker, and continued to grow from there. And today we have 68 people working for the agency, and 47 of those are clinicians that take care of all mental health needs that our children might have. There's 9 executive team members, and there's 10 admin members as well. Our clients are basically 0 to 25, and 5 out of 6 of our clients are Hispanic, so most of our clinicians are bilingual, so they're able to handle that. And our clients are mostly poverty level, they're the underserved, and we do not charge our clients a dime when they come and see us. We either get them covered under Medi-Cal services, or we raise funds to cover what they need, and we don't turn anybody away. 25% more males than females, and because we're kind of a specialty shop, for lack of better terms, the Department of Mental Health recognizes us as a shop that could handle a lot of the severe cases. So the Department of Mental Health and the Department of Children and Family Services send us a lot of clients that really need some particular help. 80% of our kids have had trauma in their life, and 60% of those have had sexual abuse. We're working in the field a lot. We don't make them come into the office so much anymore, and because it's hard to for some of the clients to get to us. So we've developed a field work where we go out and see our clients, sometimes in their home, sometimes at the park, sometimes at the school that they go to. And we're very involved with a lot of the local school districts, including ABC Unified. We're very involved with the Teen Parent Program at Tracy High School. We are, I was joking with Dr. Sue a minute ago, kind of the best kept secret, unfortunately, and that's one of the reasons I'm here. We are very involved in this community. And I just wanted to come before you and throw some of those things, those stats to you, but I want to back those stats up with something else. To give you an idea, we saw 1,122 new clients last year. We gave out 27,000 hours of clinical work last year. We're doing a big work in this community. And I just wanted to kind of go over a quick story with you, because I feel like the story is going to give you a better idea of what we do. The first story I'm going to tell you, the reason I kind of started off and told you I was born in Roseburg, Oregon, because the story I'm going to tell you actually took place in Roseburg, Oregon. In 2015, at the Umpqua Community College, a gentleman by Christopher Harper walked in with a bulletproof vest, and he was armed, and he proceeded to shoot up the campus, killing 9 people and wounding many others. When you look into his background, he was in the military for a little while, and got discharged right away. And it came out later that it was because he had some mental health issues. His mother, later on, it was found out that his mother had him diagnosed once as having Asperger's syndrome, which is a social disorder. But she never got him help. One thing that kind of struck me too is Christopher is not from Roseburg, Oregon. He's from Torrance, California. He's from our own region here. And 9 people died because he didn't get help. I'd like to tell you another story about a young man named Noah. Noah's one of our clients. Noah, in the 3rd grade, at 6 years old, was getting into a lot of fights, causing a lot of problems, and was getting in trouble every week. He was getting detention. I mean, you name it, it was happening to Noah. And Noah, finally the principal and the teachers called a conference with Noah's mother, a single mom, and they said, you know, you need to get Noah some help. And we recommend that you take Noah over to Community Family Guidance Center. Well, Noah's mom had the stigma that a lot of people had and thought, you know, not mine, and I'm not going to, I'm too embarrassed to do it, you know. But so she did like every American does. She Googled how to handle these type of situations and tried some stuff off the internet, and it just didn't work. And Noah kept getting in trouble. So she finally did go over to Community Family Guidance, and she was worried because she couldn't pay. We told her, don't worry about that. Just bring him in. Let's take a look at him. And during the assessment, it was determined that he had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And so we assured the mother that it was nothing to do with her. She was really worried about that. She was thinking, she's going to think, are they going to blame me? You know. And we started a therapy with him of how to deal with that disorder. We also have a couple psychiatrists, and we got him in to see the psychiatrist who issued some medicines to help out with the situation. And I'm happy to report that today Noah is a very happy kid at school who's doing really well. And the reason I'm bringing up those 2 stories is to kind of give you the example of a child without help and then a child with help. Noah could have been the other guy as well, growing up never getting help, but he did get help, and it made a big difference in his life. I know that you guys are probably thinking, okay, well, how many Hawaiian Garden residents do you see? We got over 700 duplicated clients that we see out of Hawaiian Gardens. If you take that and do a per capita, comparing it to Norwalk, for instance, we're seeing just as many clients in Hawaiian Gardens as we are in Norwalk. So to wrap it up, I will say this. We did submit for some monies to help us with our cause to the city. We submitted for a grant, and I would ask that you would highly consider that. Thank you very much for having me, and if you have any questions, I can answer them.
Yes, can you hold tight? We will have questions for you.
Okay.
Would anybody have any questions for him besides myself?
Well, my initial question is, when is it coming before council? It could be requested. Where's the application process? I'm looking at Sue because I thought you were holding the applications.
It's part of the donation process.
Right,
and we'll be
but there's a
coming back-
deadline, right? And we bring it forth?
We got the application, and we'll be bringing that to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Could you please state the exact location and perhaps how any families can get a hold of you or your organization?
Yes. We actually have a couple locations. Our main office is in Cerritos on South Street at Studebaker, right next to the Acura dealership there. And we have probably 60% of the building, the large building that's there. We have a satellite office in Downey. We have a school office out in Ramona Elementary in Norwalk. And we do, like I said, some work through the ABC Unified School District with Tracy High School. We did have a clinician stationed at Willow Elementary for 2 years, up to about a year ago, and we're working on hopefully reestablishing that relationship somewhere in Hawaiian Gardens.
Excuse me, my cookies are in the way. Button. That's very interesting. I didn't realize you had so many clients from Hawaiian Gardens. I was aware of your program, but I didn't realize that you had 700 clients in Hawaiian Gardens. So that's great. And I'm glad you submitted a request for monies. I hope that we'll be able to help you out there, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I do have one question. It says 0 to 25 is the age group that you're able to help. Now, what if the person happens to be homeless? Do you work with any of them?
Oh, yes. We get referrals, homeless from Department of Mental Health usually, that is concerning homeless people. We also, I don't know if you consider this homeless, but we do a lot of work with Sukasa, which is a domestic violence shelter, which I would consider them homeless because they had to leave their home. But yeah, so we do a number of homeless people as well. People that are living in their cars, yes.
Great. Do you have an office at Tracy?
We do not have an office. We have a clinician that goes to a particular location there quite often.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Bill.
Uh-huh.
I just want to say that I was impressed that you even counseled Noah's parents, because sometimes, I mean, all the time, we feel it's our fault, and it's good
Right.
that you bring the whole family in for counseling to find the root of the problem. I love the program. Thank you very much,
Oh,
Mr.
thank
Bill
you.
Cinco.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Yes, thank you. Okay, we'll be moving on to public hearing. There is none. So at this time, I'd like to open the successor regular meeting, RDA. Public hearings, none. Consent calendar, there's 2 items on the consent calendar. Does anyone wish to pull any of these items? I make a motion to accept, to approve
I'll second it.
the consent calendar. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Consent calendar, presentation of minutes. Okay. Okay. I'd like to adjourn to our next regular successor agency RDA meeting to be held on Tuesday, March 28th, 2017 at 6 p.m. And now we'll be continuing our regular city council meeting with an ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, if I may ask for a change in order of our agenda items. I believe we do have individuals here to consider discussion items. You can go ahead and take those first, at least one item, and then move forward with your agenda if you don't mind.
Okay. Yes, we can do that. Thank you very much. So we'll be moving discussion items up. Discussion. D1. We'll be moving to discussion D1, consideration of donations to local Hawaiian Garden schools for science camp and attendance incentives.
Okay, Mayor, thank you.
Yes.
So the city budget's $30,000 to be available to Hawaiian Garden School donations for activities related to educational matters. Staff coordinated with Dr. Sue, Superintendent of ABC Unified School District, and received input. City funds will be utilized and allocated as detailed in the staff report. And in addition to that, the staff report calls for a donation of $3,000 to the Hawaiian Gardens Library for Library Week activities. And that really concludes my report. Myself, Linda Hollingsworth, and Dr. Sue are available for any questions from the council.
I would just like to know about the attendance, $5,000. I mean, does it have to go to attendance, or can they use it for something else besides attendance? Or, part of it attendance and part other incentives?
I think Dr. Sue can come up to the podium and address that specifically.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, before I address the issue of attendance, I do have to make a great announcement, especially as it pertains to one of our schools. On Saturday, this past Saturday, we held a district-wide Reading Olympics. And I say that is because of the fact that the City of Hawaiian Gardens has always supported us with the Reading Plus program in the last couple of years. And I just wanted to announce that Hawaiian Elementary was first place out of all of the 17 schools that we had participating in the district-wide Olympics. So congratulations. I had to make that announcement first because we were so proud of Hawaiian Elementary on Saturday. But as it pertains to the proposal to donate to our schools for the purpose of increasing attendance as well as for the continuing support for Science Camp. First of all, the 6 schools that are involved in the donations from Hawaiian Gardens, the reason why attendance for us is critical is because this is really one of the critical factors in looking at the effectiveness of schools. We know that when students attend school, that is very important for us, not just so much to generate ADA, but certainly because students need to be in school in order to obtain all of the things that are part of our schools. As part of our local control accountability plan, which is our accountability with our state, it's one of the major factors that they will be looking at in terms of how well are our schools doing. Attendance is one of them. And so for the last couple of years, we have really made a big effort to improve attendance district-wide. Our district-wide attendance right now, this year, has improved just 1%, which is huge for us. Last year was 96%. This year is 97%, and we're going to continue to inch upward. Our schools, that includes Aloha, Ferguson, Hawaiian, Melbourne, Fedi, and Artesia High School, all want to make attendance still a large part of their priorities because it's important that they all try to achieve the highest attendance rates possible. As I mentioned, it is part of our accountability plans. And so one of the major areas is attendance incentives for these schools. Another one is where we recognize that the $30,000 is also going to continue those schools that have received it for the science camps. We have 2 schools, Ferguson and Hawaiian, who want to continue the science camp, so that is going to remain the same as part of the proposal. But the other schools really wanted to do some other things that are innovative and that would affect more students. The students that are going to be reaching, whether it's perfect attendance or improved attendance, whether it's on a quarterly basis, trimester basis, the schools really want to find a way to acknowledge them, whether it's through medals or honoring them with parties or having them participate with their parents. So each of the schools developed the plans, and I do want to thank Linda for giving me the opportunity to work with all of the schools in developing these plans so that it really does focus on making sure that our students are in school every day.
Thank you.
Question, Melbourne doesn't have a science camp?
Each of the schools they make decisions regarding the science camp based on the teachers as well as the school's administration. So currently they do not have a science camp for this year. They are considering it though.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question just for clarity. So we have a total of $27,000 to ABC Unified School District, and then $3,000 to the library. which is not a part of ABC Unified School District, but is included in the ABC Unified School District agreement here. So does that mean that ABC is giving this $3,000 to the library, or does it mean that the school is going to eventually ask for $3,000 more dollars?
I can go ahead and clarify for you. There was an allocation in the budget, as we understood, for educational funding. These schools are being allocated by their request. They've requested these funds, and they've developed it themselves for incentives. The $3,000 are to the library because, as you know, part of education and most recently, a lot of part of education is to read informational text, have access to books of all sorts, being able to read to children at all levels. And so by expanding and benefiting our own library in whichever capability they can, that is what the $3,000 are for. I'm the first to say that it's a very limited budget, but with the constraints that were approved by our council, this is what the plan came up with.
Okay, so the $3,000 is part of the overall ABC?
Part of the overall $30,000. So
$30,000, not ABC. ABC is not.
Yeah.
There was no contract to.
Right.
I mean, is there? I mean,
Oh, I
maybe
see.
did I misunderstand the language
No,
of the
actually,
budget?
you're
It's
correct.
Education funds.
Yeah, it's educational funds. So, yeah, not necessarily ABC. You threw me because you're ABC.
And we love ABC.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's
One of the
that's great.
schools, as a result of the $27,000 that might be allocated to these schools, one of the 6 schools will receive $2,000 versus $5,000. And so their plans in terms of the incentive plan that they have submitted to me will have to be significantly reduced.
And this was this, as I understand, Linda worked with you directly, Superintendent Sue, and an oversight, complete oversight, was in regards to Tracy. As you can see, Tracy's not included in the site. I know we've always taken care of them, but at this point, this is what the proposal looks like and what we're proposing to get approved.
Yes, but at the time of this allocating money to different schools, it went by population from the city of Hawaiian Gardens. And at the time,
Right.
Tracy had no, or very few students. Yes.
So if there's no other questions, I motion that we approve this item.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I do want to thank the City Council for the generous donations for the $27,000 to our 6 schools. There's clearly no doubt in anyone's mind in ABC Unified School District of the tremendous support that we have received from the City of Hawaiian Gardens. And so on behalf of all of us who are here tonight, we have the principal of Artesia High School. The entire administrative team from Artesia High School is sitting in the back, along with principal from Fedi Middle School and principal from Aloha Elementary School. On behalf of all of them, we do want to thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to continue to do what we did on Saturday, to make
Yes,
sure that
definitely.
every student in Hawaiian Gardens are going to succeed as much as anyone else in ABC. So thank you so much.
And actually, before you go, I'd like to take a moment to congratulate you as well. Mr. Apodaca was telling us that you were selected superintendent, I believe, the best in the state. So congratulations to you. I know that, you know, your leadership as well is doing really well. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Rios. Thank you.
I just want to thank Dr. Sue, because when I talked to her before the meeting, she goes, I'm not going to get up and speak. I'm just here in support. I said, oh, okay. And so she came up on a wing and did a great job. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be going back to our ordinances. Ordinance B1, conduct first reading and introduce ordinance number 571 to amend section 2.04.050 of chapter 2.04 of the Hawaiian Gardens Municipal Code, synchronizing the city's general election with the statewide elections on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November of each even-numbered year, commencing in November of 2018. At this time, I'll turn it over to our attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of the City Council, as you may recall at the last City Council meeting, we discussed SB 415, which is the state's efforts to synchronize future elections with even-year statewide elections. This is an effort to encourage greater voter participation, as evidence demonstrates there's greater voter turnout on elections held as the same date as statewide elections. City staff asked the City Council to provide staff direction regarding when the city wanted to take action to synchronize its elections with even-year statewide elections. The City Council directed staff to amend the city's municipal code to hold the November 2017 elections on November 2018 and to hold the November 2019 general elections on or move them to November 2020. So tonight, the amended ordinance is before the City Council. And so I'd like to read the title into the record. Ordinance number 571, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hawaiian Gardens, County of Los Angeles, State of California, amending Section 2.04.050 of Chapter 2.04 of the Hawaiian Gardens Municipal Code, synchronizing the city's general election with the statewide elections on the after the first Monday in November of each even-numbered year, commencing in November 2018. At this point, it would be appropriate for the council to entertain discussion.
Yes, I just like to comment on what's happening here throughout the state. Mayor Garcetti, since he was just elected, he has. Of course, we as a council have to serve an extra year, or the ones were on uneven years, and which 2017. Garcetti is going to serve 5.5 years instead of the 4 years because they made their city, the city of LA, is changing over also. So I just want to make sure that a lot of people might not understand that what we're doing here, because if we pass this ordinance here, we're going to serve an extra year. So I just want to make it clear to the community that we, I think.
So if I may, this is a state mandate. So the state is directing local cities to change their election dates based on certain criteria, and the City of Hawaiian Gardens falls into the criteria where it would be required to change its election dates. So due to the fact that the city holds its elections on odd number years, because of the state mandate, the city council members will be serving an additional year. So, but it is a state mandate.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and Council, after the second reading, if this passes, we have 30 days to notify all the registered voters in our city of the changes. And so we'll be sending out cards or something to each registered voter. And also it'll be in the newsletter for the next go-round on the newsletter also.
It's because I know there's going to be a certain amount of residents who are going to criticize us. They're saying, they'll probably be thinking that we're a bunch of, what do you call them, dictators or something.
No, Ray, they're going to be very happy. They're going to be happy with this council.
But there's always a few that are going to make an issue out of it.
Well,
So
they
we
got
got
to
to make it clear why we're doing it.
They must see this meeting and hear what the attorney said.
Correct. And again, just for, to be abundantly clear, this wasn't a choice where it's a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The state mandated cities to move their elections to encourage voter participation.
And that'll be what goes out on the card or whatever. It's going to be the state mandate. It's nothing to do with the council. It's a state mandate. So that'll be the information on the cards or the letters, whatever we're sending.
Thank you. And with that said, I move to introduce ordinance number 571, authorize the city attorney to prepare a summary for publication. Can I get a second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Now we'll move to our consent calendar. Does anyone wish to pull any item from the consent calendar? I would like to pull item 2.
I would like to pull item number 3.
Item 3. I move to approve the consent calendar as modified.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll start with the consent calendar, item number 2. And I'd like to turn that over to our city attorney. No, city manager, please.
Thank you, Mayor Turnbull, members of the City Council. On February 28th of this year, President and Trustee Area Representative Chris Apodaca made a presentation to the City Council regarding ABC Unified School District's policies and practices as it pertains to providing children with equal access to education, regardless of immigration status and or citizenship. As a result of some council discussion, and since then, thank you to council members Rios Maravilla and Mayor Pro Tem Barry Bruce for providing additional information and clarification on this issue. Staff has put forward a resolution for your approval or consideration, However, based on input, it is more appropriate to receive council consent on providing the mayor with authority to draft up a letter and essentially affirming the council's position in support of the ABC Unified School District position on this matter. And that concludes my report, Mayor. And so at this point, I would basically seek not necessarily a vote, right? Just is a consent, because it's not a resolution. It's just.
Yeah, I would, if we're going to direct, if the council's going to direct the mayor to sign anything, I would recommend that it be done by motion and a majority of the council approving.
Now, what is a hesitation for the resolution?
There's no hesitation, just the language in the city's resolution matches and mirrors theirs, which has not been approved.
Correct.
And so it essentially what the modification that staff's requesting provides you the opportunity to provide support to the school district while not mirroring their language or jeopardizing their process they have to undergo first.
I completely agree with that.
So,
Which does not void this particular resolution. It's just, we could take that as a first action,
Correct.
The mayor's letter for this purpose.
Correct. Essentially, the trustee members will use the City of Hawaiian Gardens letter of support in their advocacy of the resolution.
Yes, and I spoke with Chris Apodaca, and he said a letter's fine, but he'd rather have us in person at his meeting on Tuesday. So, and I told him that I would go there and support his proclamation in person and speak on behalf of our kids being safe in school.
And so for the residents that may not have been here when Chris spoke at the last meeting, he basically discussed with us the nature of the situation where a lot of parents are not sending their children who may not be of a legal immigration status to school from fear that ICE will come and take their kids away. And so, he basically stated what the policy of the district is in terms of handling any type of interaction between ICE and students and or parents that may be on campus. And although it's not necessarily a sanctuary resolution or statement from the district, I felt very compelled along with Mariana to go ahead and, support what the district is doing in protecting our children. The nature of the situation, especially with a lot of DACA and Dreamer students, is fairly sad. And I think that as a community with mostly a lot of immigrant families, I know that, my family immigrated here. I was a first generation born in the U.S., and I know a lot of people my age are in a similar situation. So it's only appropriate that as a council, we seek to support what the district is doing so that parents are not afraid of this federal administration that has really torn a lot of families apart already. And in addition, has instilled a lot of fear in families around the country. So I thank the mayor and the council for taking a position where we're not, subjecting our families or our students, from the fear that's being brought to us from the federal government, but instead we're supporting policies that are in place that will not only protect our students, but also, we're advocating and voicing what our values are. And I think this is really critical because, we're leaders, we're Latino leaders, whether or not we're Latino, because most of our population that we serve as council members are Latino. And it's our responsibility to speak out, especially in times like this, to truly, not only be a sense of comfort for people that live in the shadows, but also, to protect kids, which are truly innocent in any given situation. So thank you again. I appreciate it.
So do we need a motion?
Yeah, we do.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Wait.
If you could make the motion.
Oh, make it correctly? Okay, I make a motion that that Mayor Hank Trimble writes a letter of support to ABC Unified School District for their upcoming resolution.
I second it.
Well, it was
All
already
in favor?
seconded, but
Did you second it?
I had already seconded
Okay,
it, but
good.
I
It's
don't
already
mind
been
if you want to
seconded
take
by,
it.
Mariana Rios, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So we'll have a letter for your signature, Mayor, and yourself and/or any other members of the City Council that wish to attend can have it available for next Tuesday.
All right, thank you very much, because we will present it in person and read it aloud. Thank you. Now we'll be moving to consent calendar number 3. Mariana?
I know the language has already been addressed in regards to Mr. Mendoza's concern. However, I know that we have had this program in place in our city for quite a bit of time, and we usually have the director or someone come approach us and update us as to what's going on, how it's proceeding, etc. So, as I believe, if that's the only concern, then I have no problem in approving this. Just request that we get a report to make sure everything's flowing smoothly, because I do know that quite a few of our children, or excuse me, they're not children, they're young men and women who are serving our city in various areas in our city through job experience. So thank you.
Thank you.
So that was my concern. Is there any? If there's no one else, I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discussion items, D2, a request from the Community Development Department to authorize the preparation of plans, specifications, and contract documents for the replacement of existing skateboard modulars and other improvements at Clarkdale Park, located at 22008 Hawaiian Gardens, California, 90716. Joe?
Yes, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, as you know, we have been talking about these skate park improvements at Clarkdale Park for the past year and a half now, and staff has been working very closely with the Capital Improvement Committee to get some direction. As you know, most capital improvement projects here in the city, we have a Capital Improvement Committee, and we get our guidance and direction from them. As such, it has been discussed for quite some time now to basically try to cut back on the scope of work from what was originally designed, which was presented to you back in January of 2016, and I'll show that slide here in a minute. But basically, this is the subject location. It's the northeast corner of 221st Street in Clarkdale. The park's already existing. It's about a 4,000 square foot concrete pad. It's part of the overall Clarkdale Park, which is about 30,000 square feet. Those improvements have been there for quite some time, and they are dated in terms of the metal modulars compared to what is available nowadays. This is a close-up shot of the existing improvements that exist there right now. Basically, they're just all metal type of modulars or obstacles. This is what was previously presented at some of the prior council meetings, including some of these strategic planning sessions or goal-setting sessions. You had been presented Concept 1 and Concept 2. One involved removing the existing restroom / office. One was with the building relocation, one was keeping it the way it was. In any event, both concepts involved about doubling the size of the skate park improvements from about 4,000 to at least 8,000 square feet. And if you recall, we presented you the cost for the various options. One was about 1.4 million, one was about 1 million. However, as indicated, various discussions with the committee, they wanted to see the scope of the project minimized. We did discuss this also with the, I believe there was a recreation commissioner that attended one of the meetings. The skateboarders were also invited to attend, but there was no show from any of the skateboarders. So what staff did is basically put together some options. There was about 3 of them discussed in the staff report. I have an additional option to show here on the slide. But basically what we're looking for here tonight is some direction as to not so much the design itself, as that will something that will happen during the design review process with the committee and perhaps Recreation Commission and maybe skateboarders if we can get in touch with them. But what we're looking for direction-wise is how much more money do you want to allocate towards this project, and are we going with the modular option or concrete? That's pretty much all the direction we're looking for so that we can incorporate those additional funds into this upcoming budget year. Whatever money we currently have right now will be enough to get us started with the design review process. More than likely, Wildan will submit a proposal to put together a design for whatever option we go with. But again, what we're looking for is direction on cost, how much additional monies you want to add towards this project, and whether you want modulars or concrete. So option A was basically replacing the current modules like for like, more or less what's there. This is just an estimated cost of what would it take to produce these improvements. Most of these options that we'll show you here tonight will include a camera upgrade, some lighting upgrade, extending the fencing height that currently exists there right now. There's an 8-foot block wall with a chain link fence on top of that, but that was only done for a small segment of that existing block wall, so we're going to continue that for the entire length of that wall that runs on the back side of those homes. And then, of course, as we indicated in the past, there is a component within the budget and CIP plan to basically replace all mulch in the parks, all the parks, with rubberized asphalt. So it just makes sense to combine this project with all other projects that's related to the parks into one bidding operation, because it'll save you cost on design and hopefully get a better price. However, one of the issues is that this dollar amount that had been identified in your budget, it's about a 2-year-old price, and so since then that price has gone up. So just for this park alone, the price has gone up to about $76,000 2 years later. So not a significant amount, but so this is option A, about $300,000 worth. Now keep in mind we already have a grant that was obtained from Kanabe's office. There was also some money that had already been budgeted for some design work, as it was already contemplated 2 years ago. We were going to do something with the park. And there is also, of course, the money that was allocated for the rubberized surface. So there's close to about $400,000. Much of it is a grant. So again, we won't need that much more to add to that existing amount if we're going with option A. This is option B. This is basically redoing the whole concrete pad, staying within the confined area of the existing park, trying to salvage the wrought iron fence that's there now. Again, doing the lighting and everything else, cameras. But basically this is just concrete obstacles above ground. And that, of course, is the cost, about $472. And again, keep in mind, these are just ballpark estimates. As you know, when we go through a design process, it isn't until we actually go and advertise for bid that we actually get actual hard costs on these projects. That $472 could very well be $550, $600. We don't know until we go through the actual bidding process, but this is more or less an estimate at this point. Option C, this is more of an upgrade modular system. It's their top-of-the-line system that they have right now with sound dampening technology built within it. I call this more of a hybrid because within it you can also add the concrete component to it. And for $578 more or less. Okay, again, the rubberized resurfacing, the cameras, fencing, lighting, all that still stays in place. And again, doing the rubberized surfacing at all the parks. So there's additional monies just for those additional parks separately besides this, the funds that have been identified in the staff report for each park. Option D, staying within the existing park area. This is all concrete. It's a combination of above ground obstacles. You know, you got your wedges, you got your rails, and then of course you got your concrete pit or pool, whatever you want to call it. And that's more or less about $542. Again, don't look at that as a solid number. How much more do we want to add to the existing dollars we currently have budgeted in the current budget, which will roll over to more than likely next year? The Kanabe money that we had received, thank you to the county. We have till December 2018, so we got plenty of time to deal with that. And that's about $300,000. We have the resurfacing money that's going to be part of this project, and of course we have a little bit of design money left in there as well. So that's a starting point, and then how much more do you want to add on top of that? So we're looking for direction on, are we looking at a $500,000 park, a $600,000 park, and do you want to see modulars? Do you want to see concrete? Again, we intend to involve the committee during that process, the Recreation Commission, or certain members that were designated to work with staff. I can't remember if there was one or two that had shown up at that meeting. And then if we can get a hold of these, you know, the skateboarders, that they can be part of that process if they want to be.
Mayor, if I may, so really tonight, we have resources available to start the design work, which will further kind of detail our actual cost for, depending on the option you select. Regardless of the option you select, we're going to work closely to try to reach out and have meetings even at the skate facility, if that helps bring in some of the patrons of that area. But ultimately, it's just really what ballpark area, what kind of design you wish to, for staff to kind of investigate. And what we're going to do is, again, with the resources we have now, we have the ability to, based on the design that you wish to, for us to go forward with, we'll provide you with a more concrete budget and details. All of designs other than A would require some kind of budget amendment in the upcoming year. So just keep that in mind, and obviously how much of that budget amendment is kind of what Joe kind of detailed with regards to the different options. But all are scaled down and provide you, I think, with a essentially a compromise to what was presented over a year ago to where we're at now, that still provides a lot of the same components that were addressed then. So.
Now, we're at the door of the next budget. Couldn't we just hold off on this and then just try to get more of the skaters and get their view on it? Because I know they had a perspective. I'm not even clear if all these new pictures are just the skate park area, or is it the whole park? Just the skate park area, not the basketball courts or the...
The only improvements
just
is
the
the
skate
actual
park.
skate park, which is
Right.
4,000 square feet of skating area.
Right, and we have...
skateboard area.
We have already, from what I see, 300... How much is the total that we already have?
Just
About
under
400,000.
About
400,000.
400,000 from any one that we pick, right?
Right. Again, I'm not asking that you pick a particular design.
Right.
We're just wanting to get direction. For me to start to hire Wildan and get a scope of work or start doing some, get a cost estimate, we need to know what are we dealing with cost-wise. So are we dealing with...
So the problem is that I'm not a skater, so I can't say yay. I could just see, from the 4 that you showed us. Can you show us again the 4 that you looked up there? Because I know metal's definitely been a problem. From just looking at the ideas of what you're looking at, it looks like number D is and D is not even included in here. Did I miss a page in my report?
Well, because I used to skate, so...
Okay, so we're yielding to the mayor?
I have an opinion on this. See, Mr. Rodriguez said I must have fell, but he wasn't there. A is the exact same park with different material, and they're burnt out in that.
Yes,
Right.
they are.
And C, yeah, they're even getting burnt with the hot metal. Yeah, they feel like eggs. B, that's just big. Oh no, go back to what is it? C? Yes, C, please. Please, there's not too much there. It's just big and bulky. But B, there's a lot to do there. But D is the one because that's different. That's pretty. That's cool. So
We don't have enough room for something
yeah, no,
that
that
big.
all fits in that same spot.
We don't have enough room.
Yes, we do.
Option B, can you go back to the first exhibit A, or what was it? The overlooking of the whole park the way it is right now. There you go. You see, we can add towards Clarkdale, we can add another, 10 feet?
Yes, you'll be able, if you want to expand the park.
Either one.
Okay.
And
You wanna-
then we can
right,
add
you
at
can
least
expand
another
the park
10
this
feet
way
there.
and
And
this
then,
Trias?
yeah. And then we can add also on, 221st?
Correct.
Yeah, we can add in another few feet, and that makes it bigger. And I think that was plenty enough for our skate park. And then we go back to option B, right there. And I think we have enough room to have something like that. And once we add more square footage.
Yeah, you can, I had calculated you can probably get another 1,200 to 1,500 more square feet by expanding the existing park. We want to try to preserve that existing monument sign that's there, palm trees, there's some irrigation lines that run through there. So option B, this option B could, if you were to expand and add additional 1,200 square feet, you may be able to add additional obstacles as well.
Okay, so I think option B, of course, the estimate you have here is 472. You say it doesn't apply to right now because that's 2 years old?
Yeah, well, the 65,000 is a little off because it's pretty old estimate. But again, what we're looking for, you got about $400,000. If we're not looking for an exact design, we're not deciding on any design or options in terms of what obstacles, whether we're putting a bowl in there or not, whether we're putting a pipe, a half pipe, wedges, rails, all these things that these kids call them. We're looking for some type of direction so we can get the ball moving with Wildan. We've been at this for about a year and a half. We haven't had a mid-year budget review on this issue, and that's why this thing kept dragging along and along. So the council's asked for this thing to be on the agenda tonight. We're just looking for direction.
Essentially, you're looking at about $100,000 to $200,000 budget amendment in the future, or not even budget amendment, it's a budget allocation for this specific project based on the type of option that you choose. Obviously, I think based on the comments I've heard, option A is not an option, so you're going to see a budget increase. And that said, really it becomes an issue of what kind of skate park, given I think Joe did a really good job of trying to keep it within the scope of what's currently there. Obviously, there could be some flexibility with, as you discussed right now, about adding square footage where needed. But for the most part, it doesn't heavily impact the park as a whole, but provides, I think, a lot of the options that the skaters have been talking about, and it'd be good for the patrons as a whole.
I think we ought to proceed with one of the options here. As far as the skateboard kids, they had their chances twice already, and they never showed up. So
Well, I talked to the kids, and I know what they want.
Yeah, well, it's
The
what they
kids-
want is
The
you
kids
know,
want D, and if we're going to invest money in this, we might as well do it right. So
D.
they
because of
want
the
D
bowl?
because of the bowl, yes, and that's what they talked about Cerritos Regional and going to several other skate parks that they no longer want the surface ramps.
Can we afford it? Can we afford it?
Yes, we
Because
can.
like now we're
a casino city.
We are. There's other programs that we have to fund that we never funded before because of certain problems. I know, like the Christmas lighting and other programs that we have to do. We have to pay for now, which we didn't have to before. It was donated. So we're looking at all the money we're spending. I know what you, I would like to give me a Cadillac myself, but I can't afford it. So, I mean, we have to think about us, the taxpayers, the residents here. I mean, we're not Cerritos. We cannot spend $2 million for a skateboard park, especially in that area, which is so small. So we just have to be, take care of our funds, our taxpayers. I know what they want, but it's impossible to give them what they want. They would rather have the whole park right there as a skateboard park, of course. They're kids. But we should also make the decision of how much are we going to spend on this park.
Hey, Joe, I'm sorry. Can we put that bowl in the existing slab?
No, you're going to have to tear the whole
No.
thing out.
We already
In the existing space?
We already approved rubberizing it, so, I mean, I don't mind. Being Cerritos are better than
Yeah,
Cerritos.
that
I mean, I
design-
appreciate our city, and I've never been limited by that. And we just showed that Hawaiian Gardens,
They have to dip.
Sorry, is it my turn, or are we having side conversations?
Actually, it was my turn.
Oh, I thought you were finished.
no,
Finish,
finished.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Anyway.
And then I'll take it over.
Okay.
I don't mind waiting.
Ronaldo, you had
Okay.
And then yield it to me.
Now I forgot what I was going to say. But anyway.
You're saying we
talking
can't
about
give these
Cerritos.
kids everything they want.
Yeah,
The
that's
adults
it.
have to step
Yeah,
up
they
and
have to
save
decide.
money.
There you
That's
go.
what you were saying.
That is a gist.
But yeah, a kid can come to you and they want something big and everything, and just because they do that, that means that we can afford to do it.
We can. That's the
Oh,
only
that's
reason.
it,
That's the
huh?
only reason we're discussing this, because we could afford it.
If it's going to cost us what they want is going to cost us over $1 million. What
D
they want.
looking at
will
them.
cost $572 or $542.
What?
An estimate?
I'm going to recommend that if you're looking at option,
Always add 100.
Can you
Yeah.
go? Can
I'm
you?
gonna-
Yeah,
I'm gonna-
542.
yeah, you
And,
got about
And we already have 400,000 of it, or so.
Yeah.
It
You
sounds
got
like
about-
we have a majority.
you got about 400,000.
So net that
I would
from the
I would
542.
recommend you if you're looking at option D, I would recommend you to that 400,000 to add at least 200,000 of additional general funds, and then we'll see how the bids come out. It sounds like they want to go with this bowl. We'll see how big it, they can make it with what they've got.
And the
my thing is
Excuse me, Mayor, that was my turn next, right?
Let Mariana.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Because we did take turns now. We were assigned. I went to the mayor already said that he's the expert and he already likes option D, so I appreciate that, option
you,
D,
Hank.
because I have gone to Cerritos and I went to this park I was mentioning to Joe, and I'm not sure what that is. On Long Beach State, that street you take all the way down, they also have a park over there, and they're sunk. They're a skate park. So, I mean, that's amazing. If we can go ahead and do that for our kids, that would be awesome.
I have to say this. Okay, I like option B and I like option D. And I think there's a big chunk of money between those two. And if I don't see skaters getting their tail ends out to these meetings, then I'm all about option B. Because, at the end of the day, if the skaters aren't interested enough to even show up, I hope you guys are listening, or I hope you can hear this, or I hope you, will at least respond. Then what is the point in us even doing the thing in the first place? So skaters need to step up. If they want a big old nice thing like this, and this excites them, then they need to show their excitement by showing up, being a part of the meetings, and putting their input in. If they're not interested in showing up, then I think we should do option B. We put in the concrete because it reduces noise. There has been people upset about the noise. We do it because, number one, the metal stuff that we have out there is unsafe. It gets hot, they get burned, and it's noisy. So we want to put in something that's quieter, that's safer. But if the skaters show up and they're excited and they're all pumped up about this, then I'm more than willing to add some extra money to it. But I'm very unhappy with the response of the skaters on this project. And I know I know we've drug it out, but I told the skaters when I talked to them, this is a process that's going to take a long time. Government moves really slow. And I said, so be patient, come to meetings, and try to be excited about it. So that's my thing. I'm honestly not very excited about the project if I can't see some kids excited about the project.
That's your direction, B and D, and the kids could change this.
Now, Mr. Trimble, if I can comment that, as my understanding, most of the skaters are minors. So when we request information from minors, we have to understand that they are minors. And that the fact that they showed up to a meeting was just already amazing itself. So we can't be saying minors show up and talk to me because you're a minor. However, you're already doing it. I'm speaking of myself and I can do what I need. But we can direct staff that works with them daily. They do monitor the parks, and maybe they can go ahead and show them both options and get from staff, if they can approach them, they take care of them all the time. We do have staff at the park, to get their input from that, their interactions with them. I do not feel comfortable. We're dealing with parents who are taking care of their kids, and they can voice a concern, and if they voice their concern, we're going to definitely listen to them, and I want to listen to them. But in my view, when because I blanked out. Thank you, Virgin. Give me a minute here. When Mr. Bruce brought this to the council, it was his bringing. So yes, we have postponed it, and it wasn't even my proposal here that I'm speaking up for, but I do respect that their wishes are there. When I have visited the park, they have made all the complaints that we already talked about, the hotness of the metal and stuff like that. And you are the expert, so I would support you in option D, as you said.
And I'm next. So I have a couple of comments. First of all, I agree they are minors. We cannot hold them to coming to meetings when they already came and told us specifically what they wanted. The fact that they took time out of their day to come to the podium and talk, and they told us exactly what they wanted. They said, we want the ones that dip, we want concrete, we don't want metal. And for the council members that do not remember, the meetings are online, and you can access it there. And but I just think it's a little bit, inappropriate to say that minors have to show up to meetings, because at that specific meeting, I had to walk the kids home. So I had to walk each kid home, and it was dark, and it wasn't very safe for them to walk home at late hours. Cars can hit them or whatnot, but regardless, they already came, they already told us exactly what they wanted. And so I think us even throwing in option B when they specifically said we do not want option B is stalling. So I would recommend to take Hank's recommendation, the kids that came at the last meeting, and just move forward with a ballpark of D.
I have one more thing to say. Are we finished? I don't want to interrupt anybody. It's if you're a kid, when you have a kid in your future and he comes over and he wants Nikes instead of the cheaper tennis shoes, and if you cannot afford it, you're going to buy him the Nike. This is what you're talking about. The kids, of course, they want a swimming pool there and all that stuff in there, but those kids also, we have problems with those kids, and you know that. They were throwing oranges, they were throwing lemons at cars going by. I had several residents on Clarkdale that came to me and they said they were having problems with those kids, that they were yelling and screaming. They were screaming at night. I don't know if you know it, but they even threatened our employee that works there. And so, in fact, Hank and I went over there and talked to the kids because of that, if you recollect.
Yes, we did.
Because of the problems that they were creating. So we're talking about kids that, they're kids.
Wait a minute, we can't hold minors responsible. They're minors.
So anyway,
if we can,
Go ahead and laugh about it. Wow.
So I don't
And you did have a
understand.
school before, right?
Okay, let's.
Wow.
Ronaldo, you got another 30 seconds. Wanna wrap
Okay,
it up?
well, in closing here, I would say let's start with B and start the program. We cannot wait any longer. I mean, forget about D and F and so on because we really can't afford it. And like I said, these kids, they'll ask for something bigger than that because they're kids. And we're not going to give them their way. I mean, just like parents.
Okay, well, let me have one last comment before I close this discussion. We're going to be looking at B and D. And the meetings that we're going to have with these minors are going to be at the skateboard park, like our manager suggested at the beginning of this meeting. So there'll be daytime meetings when they're at the skate park, and then we'll make our final decision after we get your bids on both parks. So that will be our.
So what do you think the kids are going to go for, B or D? Of course they're going to go for D. They want the best.
Well, let's just see how much the difference is, just so we have given educated decision on this. So let's go with B and D, direction to staff.
Certainly. So we'll provide cost estimates for both options, and whatever input we receive, we'll provide that to council also. And then we'll make sure we have some resources that we can do to reach out to the youth in that area.
So just to clarify, we're directing Mr. Colombo to get renderings for both B and D. Is that what you're saying? Architecturally,
We're not giving him. We're not
development,
giving him
right?
direction at all. That's he asked for direction. That's
No.
why it's agendized, and we're not giving him direction.
So if I may, you can, as the mayor's suggestion, and there hasn't been a motion for anything, including Councilmember Rodriguez's option. One of the options that I'm hearing right now is option B solely. The other option I'm hearing is to evaluate options B and D. That incurs additional costs as far as design, because we have to essentially design both and cost both out. But that's the two items kind of being tossed around by council. We have not received direction, but those are the two positions that I'm hearing as far as you at the dais.
And I would be concerning because we're trying to save money supposedly. So why would you get architectural designs for both?
Mr.
You know?
Hernandez,
So then that means my first initial recommendation is it looks like what we're going for. We're going to wait until the budget.
Okay,
Is that what you're
then you
talking
want to
about?
make a vote on these right now? You want us to make a
Minister?
decision on these two skate parks today?
Mr. Hernandez,
We could do that.
I have a question.
Yes.
The comment was made over and over again that money does not grow on trees. That we don't have the money for Nikes. We have to go with the cheaper shoes. So, could you please tell us what you already told us in our budget session? Can we afford option D?
Certainly, right now you have the resources to do any one of these projects. Obviously, you're dealing with limited funds, and so it's really a discretion of you what you want to spend those monies on. So it's priorities. So yeah, you can do this or any other project based on your priorities. But if you, in other words, you don't necessarily, in fact, based on the direction we received tonight, we're going to move forward with starting the design work and bringing a budget amendment prior to even the budget next year anyway, because this is already a CIP type budget, or I'm sorry, project, and so we'll move forward based on that discussion. And I only wanted to throw that caveat about if you're going to look at both options, for us to really do it right would mean we'd have to explore both each individually and make a decision based on that, or provide you with the information on that. And unless we could simply, and Joe, you tell me, I don't know if we could ballpark that portion. I don't think so, right?
Well, most of these options that we've got here, we've gotten for free, dealing with the skate park companies. So if you want to get more detailed, that'll cost money to get that through Wildance. So that'll be an additional cost on top of this.
We're talking
So-
about another 30,000 per design.
If we want to get detailed renderings for each individual site, and we'll need to know more of the scope, are we dealing with 4,000 square feet? Are we going to expand it? So I would need to get more direction tonight. I mean, or we can just take it all to the skate park community and see what they have to say and report back. I think we've provided as much as information we possibly could at this point. But if you're still not certain which way you want to go and you want to get them more involved, then yes, we would have to go back to the park and call a meeting of some sort and see what they want to do. But these are not too far off. These were provided by the skate park companies themselves, and they didn't charge me anything to get these renderings. And this is all work that's been done by in-house staff. What did cost us quite a bit of money is when we prepared this by Willdan. So I need to get more clear direction as to what type of design are you looking for. Are you looking for conceptual drawings? Are you actually looking for plans and specs, or actual plans?
I don't think we should go with plans and specs. I don't think we should spend any more money. I really think that we have enough to go on by looking at these pictures. And I think we need to go to the skate community, and we need to hold them to the task. I mean, yeah, they're minors, so what? They're minors that want a skate park. So if they're interested, then they'll come. I have great confidence in youth. They'll come if they know.
All right.
We have two things to look at, and we make a decision based on the kind of response that we get.
Bashir, could you turn on those projectors again for us, please? I think they're on a timer. So it sounds like we've made some progress. B and C, I think, are both concrete.
B and D.
No, you're looking at
B and D. Okay, so there seems to be
so the
consensus on concrete. So really what we're talking about is design. We're really talking about design, and that's something that we said we're going to take back to the community anyhow in the CIP committee. So
yeah, we're either
really
talking about
whether
above ground or a concrete dip.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're either talking about adding another 100,000 or another 100 or 200.
What I
That's really
think
what we're talking about.
we don't want to do is keep delaying kind of what we're going to do next. So maybe if the council desires, we can start these meetings with the youth in that area on specifically B and D with the estimates that we have. We can provide that back to you, then you can make a decision.
And just so the residents know, I mean, the county is paying more than half of the project, or about half of the project.
$300,000.
Depending on which one we choose. So we really want to meet their requirements, and they're on a deadline, although you're saying that we still have quite a bit of time. December 2018 comes around the corner if we don't make decisions and start, utilizing that money. So I don't mind taking it back to the skaters and making a choice. I do want to make the best informed decision in this matter.
Okay.
But B and D sound good. But I am a proponent of D. That's the one I supported best.
So we will take it back for input.
Next council. No?
I don't know. I can promise you, I'll tell you, a month from now, in other words, first meeting in April, we can bring it back with input. I just don't know schedules and that kind of thing.
But what is happening between the meetings? Mr.
Well,
Colombo, you're
what-
not doing anything. We're just taking it to the
what-
skaters
so-
to get their input.
Right.
Isn't that
So
what
what's
we're
going to
doing?
have to happen is this will have to get scheduled. Recreation Department will have to get involved again and
Notice and
notify
everything else.
Right.
the notices
So-
for the
right. We'll have
commissions.
to get them involved and.
But what we'll do is we'll base that discussion strictly on the numbers that we have now, because that generally will be ballpark anyway for your decision-making process. But we'll bring it back for the first meeting in April.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, just for the record, so it could be clear, can we do this by motion? If we can make a motion
Of course.
to consider both B and D, if that's the council's desire.
Well, I don't believe we have the votes for D right now. Do we have votes for D right now? Because I would love to make a motion and just get it done right now. But
The kids
No.
we know the kids are
No.
going to pick D.
No, what he's suggesting is that somebody make a motion with what we just talked about, which is I'll make a motion that we look at options B and D and bring them to the skate community with a report to council in the April meeting.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, that went by nice. We're down here to new business. Anyone have new business? Okay.
I do. We did have, well, actually, maybe it might be old business. We still have those $5,000 pending that were granted to the city for allocation, and we were looking at either pool area shades or baseball netting, if I'm understanding correctly, and we haven't made a decision on that matter. So I would like to bring it back to council to see what we're going to be doing with that.
We did. We chose the gazebo. And then Ray even had Joe design it
Yes.
with
Yeah.
wood and all that.
So that money just went to the gazebo?
It's going to be a big structure to cover shaded structure over at Leeward Park, yes.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, I'll table this concern until budget time then, because those other two items are still needed. I thought you were so. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Oral committee reports? Oral staff reports?
Yeah, I've got a couple. If you recall, the long-range property management plan allowed us to keep some of those parcels. DOF allowed us to keep about 9 parcels. Those have now been officially been transferred to the city, so we now own those 9 parcels. Some of them are wedges, part of the Dead End Street project, things like that. Also, as a result of some of the complaints we got regarding the massage parlors, we did do inspections after 8 o'clock, and we have a total of maybe about 6 or 7 citations that were issued. That is an issue that keeps coming up regarding operating after hours or therapists that are out there with no licenses. So that concludes the report from CDD.
Thank you, Joe.
Mayor, members of the City Council, I just have a quick report. I want to commend staff for this weekend's event for the community block cleanup on 226. It was really well run, really efficient. In fact, I've participated in those type of events in other agencies, and that was about the cleanest block cleanup I've seen. I mean, usually it's a good mess all over close to the bins. There was a total of 30 bins collected, so it was a pretty big event. And so I do want to commend staff, and it really was a good team approach, which I really, I'm really pleased with, and I think the community was pleased overall. So.
Thank you very much. Oral council reports?
I did attend the Safe Communities event, and I'm sorry I don't see staff to help me out on this, but I believe we have another event on the 22nd. Does anyone know? Are you aware, Mr. Hernandez? Right?
I do, and I should have that data. I mean,
and that in that park, that is
Clarkdale Park.
Right, going to be here in Clarkdale Park. So,
I'll verify in 1 second.
So we went ahead. I mean, I attended that, and it was just amazing. I just, wish we had a lot more kids to participate. Thank you to Hawaiian Elementary because they sent a lot, but $1 million's not enough for me. Because as you saw in the video, the information presented was amazing, and I know that the staff at Clarkdale has been working really hard to be there, and they're going to be giving kids a great information.
So it is for Wednesday, March 22nd from 3 to 5 p.m. At Clarkdale Park. There'll be a canine demonstration, barbecue, free barbecue, and Shaky Quakey earthquake simulator.
Right. So. Thank you. The other thing is we are, I missed the committee reports. They went kind of quick. We are ardently working with the mayor on the Carnival Parade Committee. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of movement in that, a lot of meetings. And we are taking all recommendations into consideration. I know Mr. Rodriguez addressed the council quite a while ago that entertainment should be held back until residents are out of work, like until after 5 sometime. And so we are still going to have a DJ, so we have some movement and entertainment, particularly for the young crowd that does get there earlier. But we have taken that under advisement, and you can look at the entertainment that we provided there. There's flyers all over the city in regards to that. So I'm looking forward to that event, and then we're working the other ones. But I just wanted to make sure to report back on that matter that was brought back earlier. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I took a little walk over there with our block cleanup also and talked to all our staff, and yeah, they did a wonderful job. Those guys were out there. They were sweeping right away. If there was any debris on the street, they swept it up. I also attended the boxing show we had at Hawaiian Gardens, and our mayor here, he was the announcer, man. He was like a professional up there. Now I think he's going to go. I think he's going to apply for that in L.A. He did a good job. I mean, he was having a good time. He just loved, like you said, he loved it. He was just announcing in between fights, and I mean, he was great. So I think you're going to be a permanent boxing announcer here. This is the second year you've done that, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So. And I'll take that job. I love it. It's fun.
I have one announcement. The Way Out Ministries is offering a Camino Immigration Services. We'll be doing an informational meeting at the Way Out Ministries on March 30th at 6:30 p.m. So if people have real questions regarding immigration and want real answers, there's a lot of stuff in the news media, there's a lot of stuff going around that's just causing people to be stressed out and to worry. Some of that's true, some of that's not true. This immigration service is a bunch of professionals who will be able to give real answers in a safe place. So I would just encourage anybody that has questions to come. There'll also be an opportunity for confidential evaluation of your concerns as well. So if you're a family that has concerns or an individual that has concerns about your immigration status, you can get confidential information from these attorneys. So if I can get you, Ray, to read this, because it's in Spanish, and I think it's best in Spanish.
Okay, conozca sus derechos. El día 30 de marzo del 2017 a las 6:30 de la noche en la Way Out Ministries, 22427 Norwalk Boulevard, Hawaiian Gardens. Estaremos presentando información y aclarando dudas sobre las nuevas órdenes ejecutivas, sobre los documentos que necesitan preparación para su emergencia. Venga a aprender sobre sus derechos, constitución. ¿Qué hacer en situación de detención y deportación? Formas alivio. So, este va a estar el día 30 de marzo a las 6:30 de la noche para todos los residentes. Si quieren agarrar esta información, es muy información que es la verdad de qué es lo que está pasando ahorita. Y se llama Camino. Los que los van a tener ese help me, evento se llama Camino Inmigración Services. So you should have read this because you're better than I am.
Thank you, Ray, I think.
Oh, no.
Okay, with that, I adjourn to the next regular City Council meeting to be held on Tuesday, March 28, 2017 at 6 p.m.